AI will be able to control drones, and you don't need a lot of expensive equipment to get started with that. I'd say we need to, make sure that there's enough safeguards put in place for when that time does arrive. My name is Kristaps. I've been working in the world of drones and in the drone industry for almost the past 10 years now here at SPH Engineering. Currently, I'm the product owner of UgCS, but I've had quite a lot of flight hours with drones. I'm also a licensed drone pilot myself and have been to expeditions, including expedition to Greenland, flying drones, and training a lot of customers on how to use drones and how to use different types of software. Okay, so drones, they usually have some sort of fail-safes built in case you're flying a drone and suddenly the drone's battery starts to get too low, then usually the drone will start to land or will start to return home. Depends on the battery level of that drone. In some other situations, when, for example, the drone might go out of the range of the remote controller, then in that case, another fail-safe will kick in, which will usually bring the drone back home. But you can also, of course, have the drone configured so if you know it's going to go out of range, then you can have it actually continue on the flight if you're flying an automated mission. Yes and no. I mean, usually, of course, flying at night, it's a bit more dangerous. So if you're doing it for some commercial purpose, then usually you will need to have some sort of waiver for night flights specifically. So I know they're testing drones on for the purpose of drone delivery, but I would say it's not quite there yet, especially concerning pizzas. It might depend also what size pizza you order, small size pizza, large size pizza. And it's also a question about the landing zones. Is there enough space to land in the yard? What if you live in an apartment? How do you expect the drone to deliver your pizza? Will it fly next to your window, or will you have to go outside and then the drone airdrops you your pizza? So I guess we will see. I think for sure in the future, drones will be involved more and more in these delivery processes. And there's a chance that, in maybe 5 or 10 years, you will have your pizzas airdropped by a drone. Well, physically a drone can do that. It's a matter of legislation. Of course, there's a lot of places where drones simply are not allowed to fly, such as military bases, government buildings, and so on. So it doesn't matter if you're a professional drone pilot or if you're just a beginner, using drones for videography. In most cases, the same rules will apply as far as those restricted areas. So my recommendation is that always before you fly your drone, doesn't matter if it's just for filming some quick video or if it's for doing professional survey, always check with your local authority to make sure that you will not be entering any no-fly zones. There's different categories of drones, obviously. The smallest ones, these are, I would say, more toy-level drones. This is just something you would give to your kid so they can, just play around with it, learn what drones are, and so on. Then sort of next category, I would say this is more hobbyist drones. Under this, I would put drones which are used also for FPV flights, where you're flying maybe fully manually, although this could also be even considered a separate category. But the more commercial drones here, they are the ones that you would probably take with you on your vacation, use for filming some nice vacation videos, some aerial footage, and so on. And then kind of as we go up a notch, then we get into the level of more professional drones. So here, the more smaller drones, such as, let's say, the DJI Mavic 3 Enterprise, that's something that you would use for already doing drone mapping, for example, for doing photogrammetry missions. And then if you go into even a bit higher category, when you enter the range of lifting or heavy lifting drones, then you get into categories such as drone LiDAR, so basically drone LiDAR surveys, magnetometer surveys, and even drone pizza deliveries. So, in the context of professional drones, usually you will hear terms such as mapping. So this simply means that, drones flying with the camera facing downwards and it creates a map of a certain area. You might also hear the term of photogrammetry. Photogrammetry is essentially the science of creating a 3D model out of images taken at different angles. So if you take some object, this could be a building on the ground, and if you fly the drone around that object with the camera taking images at different angles, the processing software you use after will be able to recreate this building in 3D. So you'll have what's called in the industry a digital twin of that building in this example. And also drone LiDAR, it's simply doing laser scanning with a drone. And drone LiDAR also is used, for example, when you have to fly over a densely vegetated area. So imagine flying over a forest or flying over a jungle. If you would simply be using a normal drone's camera, so if you would be doing a photogrammetry mission above that area, the camera cannot really see through the trees, right? So you'll just see the tops of the trees if it's quite dense. But the drone LiDAR, there's the difference, because the LiDAR beam, or more the laser beam, it will be able to also actually penetrate through the vegetation. And that's why, for example, drone LiDAR is used in archaeology as well, because there's cases when people are flying drones above the jungle, for example, in areas where it can be very hard to access by foot, and that using drone LiDAR, it's possible to discover some ancient ruins, it's possible to discover, some remains of an ancient civilization. So there's a lot of different interesting applications of drones. Well, depends on what you want to do. If you're like most people and just want, to use the drone for fun, do some flights, film some video, I'd suggest you get some cheaper, smaller drone. This could be something like DJI Mini series of drones, or even smaller drones, depending on what's light enough for you to take with you. But if you want to get more into professional drone mapping, drone LiDAR industry, so if you want to earn money with your drone, then I would suggest getting drones such as the Mavic 3 Enterprise drone, or even larger drones. And again, this is not really only limited to DJI. There's a lot of different manufacturers who make amazing drones. So also I can recommend, there's the Autel Evo 4T drone. There's the DJI M300 and 350 drones. Those are all the more kind of professional grade drones. There's Inspired Flight, many other manufacturers also who make really great tech. Well, this will be dependent on what drone you have. For example, to start out, I know what many people do is they simply start shooting either video or pictures. This can be, for example, video and pictures of real estate. There can be cases when, for example, the owner of some building which is being built, he might be outside of the state or even some different country, and he might want to be able to track the progress of how is this building progressing. And so then very often they hire out drone pilots. So you go, let's say once a week, once a month, take pictures, take video, and that's already something you can do. And you don't need a lot of expensive equipment to get started with that. And of course, then kind of as you move on, then there's things such as telecommunication tower inspections, power line inspections. You can use drones for agriculture, for construction, and different other industries. And then if you go up and you want to get into those higher paying fields, I would say you look into drone LiDAR. If we take a look at different surveys which can be done with a drone, then I would say drone LiDAR is kind of up there. I mean, no technology is fully protected from that. There's always some risk of drones getting hacked. Nowadays, I would say it's not as common, so I wouldn't really say there's a great risk somebody will hack your drone. However, one thing I would say is that there is a risk of GPS jammers. And of course, these devices, they're highly illegal, so you won't really find, your neighbors using GPS jammers. Usually, for example, when some, let's say, government official or president of a country, when they're traveling, usually these motorcades, they will have GPS jammers. So this means that, you might be flying your drone unaware that there is such a thing happening nearby, and your drone might lose the GPS connection. And that's a risk that you have to research beforehand when you do your drone flights and try to prevent. Well, it depends what you understand by AI, because I mean, AI, it's essentially just a combination of different algorithms. Of course, already now, drone flight controllers, they have some sort of logic, some sort of parameters according to which they fly. I'd say we're not quite there yet of having AI control drones, as outside of maybe some experimental research labs. That moment for sure will come when AI will be able to control drones, and when that will happen on a more regular basis. This could be drone deliveries, this could be city surveillance. I'd say we need to make sure that there's enough safeguards put in place for when that time does arrive, because we don't exactly want Skynet controlling all the robots around us, right? I wouldn't say it's exactly AI, but usually you can actually divide the way how drones are controlled in two different ways. Either you would be flying the drone manually, or you would automate the drone's flight. And actually now there's plenty of solutions already out there which offer drone flight planning. So this just means that for you as the operator, this gives you the ability to automate your missions and collect more precise and better data. And for example, UgCS is just one of the tools which offers you the possibility to automate these kinds of drone missions. That's an interesting question. So number one, I would say fully understand the system you're working with, right? So fully understand your drone, understand all the capabilities. You have to know all the switches on the remote controller, obviously, all the flight modes. This is just basic level stuff like that. Number two is always be aware of your legislation, be aware of what permits you need to have in order to fly your drone. If you're maybe flying a very lightweight drone, you might not need any permits at all. But from a certain weight of the drone, you will need that. Or if you want to earn money with the drone, also you will need to have the permits. And also, of course, keep track of all the no-fly zones around you. Even though maybe the location where you'll be flying, it might not have any temporary no-fly zones, there's also things such as NOTAM, which means Notice to Airmen. And this means, let's say, when there's some event happening, drone flights in a certain area might be prohibited during certain hours. So that's just something I would really recommend that you track and yeah, keep yourself updated too. Yeah, thing number three is there's now plenty of drone pilot groups out there which you can participate in just to learn more and develop yourself. Because there's so many different types of software for both flight planning, for data processing, and the better you will educate yourself on this, the better your future career path to being a high-earning drone pilot will be. Be smart, fly safe.